Hey there, welcome back. I'm Flat Rate Mechanic, and today we're diving into something that might just save you a lot of time and money. What to do when that pesky battery light pops up in your Honda. You might be thinking, oh no, it's probably the alternator, right? But here's the twist. It's often not what you think. I recently ran into this exact issue and had a little revelation. I started wiggling wires and tapping on the battery sensor, and guess what? That light flickered back on. It turns out the culprit was the battery current sensor, not the charging system at all. Intrigued? Let's break this down. First, let's talk about Honda's battery current sensor. These sensors have been around since the late 2000s and are now found on almost all newer models. Civics, Accords, CR Verses, Odysseys, you name it. So what do? Well, this little guy is tasked with monitoring battery temperature and the current draw going in and out of your battery. Now here's where it gets interesting. If there's an issue with the battery, like a short, this sensor tells the car's computer to stop charging. Why? It's a safety feature to help prevent any fire hazards. So if you see that battery light flickering, don't just assume it's the alternator. You might be wondering how to diagnose the problem when that battery light comes on. Sure, most people jump to conclusions. It's the alternator, or maybe the battery is just going bad. But on these Hondas, the sensor is actually to blame way more often than you'd think. In my case, just a little tap on that sensor made all the difference. If your battery light flickers or changes when you wiggle the sensor connector, bingo, you've found your problem. Before throwing parts at it, like a pricey alternator, give that sensor a wiggle while the engine's running. It could save you from spending hundreds of dollars. Now, let's talk about what you should check before going all in on repairs. With the engine running, your battery voltage should be around 13.5 to 14.8 volts at idle, no loads on it. If you turn on your lights and other accessories, it should stay above 13.2 volts. If it drops below 12.3 volts while running, that's a clear charging problem. But if the voltage is good and that light is still on, yep, it's your sensor. Next up is locating the battery current sensor. It's typically found on the negative battery cable and looks like a little plastic housing with a connector that has 2 or 3 wires. This little piece is crucial, but here's the kicker. Honda doesn't sell just the sensor by itself. You'll likely have to buy the whole negative cable assembly. Now, if you're feeling adventurous and want to tackle this DIY project, you'll need a few tools. Grab a 10mm wrench for the battery terminal, a 12mm for the ground bolt, and a small flathead screwdriver for prying that connector tab. Safety gear is essential too. Don't forget your glasses and gloves. Before you start, make sure the key is out of the ignition. Always disconnect that negative cable first, or you risk a short circuit. Once you're set, disconnect the negative cable, follow the cable down to where it connects to the body, and remove the necessary bolts. Unplug the electrical connector from the sensor, and voila, you're ready to swap it out. When you replace it, make sure to clean off any corrosion on both battery terminals with a wire brush. Reconnect everything carefully and snug those bolts down. Once it's all back in place, start your car. That battery light should be off in no time. If it flickers for a moment, that's just the system doing a quick check. Normal behavior. Now let's talk costs. The sensor cable assembly runs around $110 from the dealer. Compare that to what a shop might charge you, $300 to $450 for labor and diagnostics, and you'll realize that doing this yourself is a no-brainer. So what are the most common causes of that annoying battery light? Besides that sensor, it could be a failing alternator or corroded battery cables. But remember, if the battery and alternator are good and the light is still on, check that sensor first. In summary, keep in mind that battery light issues in Hondas are often due to a faulty sensor on the negative cable, not the alternator. Diagnosing this issue could save you a ton of cash, and replacing that sensor is a quick DIY fix. Before I sign off, let me leave you with this. Have you had any mysterious car issues that turned out to be something simple? I'd love to hear your stories. Thanks for listening, and I'll catch you in the next one.